I wanted to be Hank Greenberg, I suppose, and I couldn't be Hank Greenberg, so the word in Yiddish is knelt. I just loved being part of a group that idolized Hank Greenberg.
The whole interest of the city of Detroit is Hank Greenberg.
Hank said that every day of his career, he was called some name from either the opposing dugout or from fans in the stands.
He was baseball.
6'4", as big as Schoolboy Rowe. My God, nobody ever saw a Jew that big.
He wasn't doing it as a way to get other people to act the way he did. He was doing it to act properly in the eyes of his fellow Jews.
Two-time winner of the American League's Most Valuable Player Award, Slugger Hank.
There was a general aura of anti-Semitism in those days.
Hank was the perfect standard bearer for Jews. He was smart, he was proud, and he was big.
I can recall bigoted people in the stands yelling, "Hey, you kike, you're not supposed to be able to play ball."
There's always some leather lump in the stands that was getting on me and yelling at me. I found that it was the spur to make me do better, because I could never fall asleep on the ball field. You know, as soon as you struck out, you know, you were not only a bum, but you were a Jewish bum.
Jews need their great authors, their great scientists. We also need our athletes. We need our Hank Greenbergs.
He began to recognize himself as a kind of a symbol for the Jewish people.
Here it is. Anderson dive going out to left. Looks like it's in the stand for a home run.
He was the first professional ball player to enlist and go fight the Nazis. I thought he was fighting Hitler all by himself.
He didn't choose to be a person who had to lead a people and raise their self-esteem. He probably would have rather just been a baseball player and judged by his record.
Call him the hero of heroes. Call him the champion of champions. I almost weep still remembering what that meant to us.
There was a stream of humanity that surged around him. Children stood on chairs to see Hank Greenberg, the legend, had come to celebrate the holy day of the year.
Greenberg's stature as an American Jewish hero skyrocketed.
Hank Greenberg, like his Hall of Fame contemporaries Lou Gehrig and Frank Frisch, was from the sidewalks of New York. His hometown teams, however, had Gehrig and Bill Terry as their first baseman when Hank came of age. And so he earned his Hall of Fame rating with the Detroit Tigers.
Joe DiMaggio once said about Hank Greenberg, he was one of the truly great hitters, and when I first saw him at bat, he made my eyes pop out. But here is what DiMaggio did not see. Teammate Bertie Tebbetts revealed, "There was nobody in the history of the game who took more abuse than Greenberg, unless it was Jackie Robinson." Why would a slugger this talented face that level of hatred? From a decision on Yom Kippur that stopped the nation, to chasing Babe Ruth while Hitler rose to power, to a moment with Jackie Robinson that changed everything. Drop a comment about the greatest athlete who transcended sports. Smash that like if you love untold baseball history. Do not skip, because this gets wild. Let us start with what made Greenberg untouchable at the plate. Joe DiMaggio had seen every great slugger, Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, Ted Williams. But when the Yankee Clipper talked about Greenberg, even he had to admit his eyes popped out. DiMaggio was not easily impressed. The numbers tell you why. Greenberg posted a career slugging percentage of .605, 7th all-time. His on-base plus slugging sat at 1.017, top 9 in baseball history. Ted Williams, arguably the greatest hitter ever, ranked Greenberg 11th on his all-time list. Only Ruth, Williams himself, Gehrig, and Fox ranked ahead in pure slugging power. In 1934, Greenberg formed part of the Tigers' infield they called the Battalion of Death. First baseman Greenberg, second baseman Charlie Gehringer, shortstop Billy Rogel, third baseman Marv Owen. Together, they drove in 462 runs. That record still stands. Manager Mickey Cochran said, "He showed us how to win. His winning spirit was infectious. He would go through a brick wall to catch a ball." The power numbers shock you even today. 11 multi-homer games in 1938 alone. That record stood for 60 years. 96 or more extra base hits in 4 different seasons. Only Babe Ruth ever did that. Hank Aaron never reached 96 extra base hits in any single season. Neither did Willie Mays. Neither did Barry Bonds. Teammate Flea Clifton put it simply, "Where the hell would you guys be without Hank? He has been putting the bucks in our pockets." But talent came with a target on his back. Because while DiMaggio's eyes were popping, others were spewing hatred. Detroit in the 1930s was not an easy place for a Jewish athlete. Henry Ford's Dearborn Independent distributed hate-filled newspapers nationwide. Father Charles Coughlin preached to 30 million radio listeners every week from his church in the Detroit suburbs. This was the world Greenberg walked into every day. Bertie Tebbetts caught for the Tigers alongside Greenberg for 7 seasons. He saw everything. Tebbetts said, "I think that Hank, on the ball field, was abused more than any other white ball player or any other ethnic group ball player, more than anyone except Jackie Robinson. But once the game was over, Hank could go anyplace. Jackie, unfortunately, could not go anyplace except go out on the field and take the abuse." Red Sox player Ben Chapman later admitted, "Oh, we called him names. It was all part of the game back then. You said anything you had to say to get an edge." Chapman was the same man who would torment Jackie Robinson worse than anyone in 1947. The abuse came daily. Opposing dugouts yelled, "Throw him a pork chop! He cannot hit that!" Fans screamed slurs. Hotels refused service. Teammate JoJo White once walked slowly around Greenberg, staring. Greenberg asked what he was looking at. White said, "I have never seen someone like you before." Greenberg did not complain, did not make excuses. Flea Clifton defended him to other teammates. "Do not kick the horse you are going to ride." He just kept hitting. By 1934, Greenberg was not just playing baseball. He was representing 2 million people among 100 million. And the spotlight was about to get even brighter. September 10th, 1934, Rosh Hashanah. The Tigers faced the Red Sox with a 4-game lead in the pennant race. Detroit had not won a pennant since 1909. The Detroit Free Press did something unprecedented. They ran Hebrew letters on the front page. L'Shana Tova Tikatevu. Happy New Year, Hank. Greenberg later wrote, "The team was fighting for first place, and I was probably the only batter in the lineup who was not in a slump." But in the Jewish religion, it is traditional that one observe the holiday solemnly, with prayer. One should not engage in work or play, and I was not sure what to do. The Detroit News ran a headline, "Talmud clears Greenberg for holiday play." Rabbi Leo Franklin said Rosh Hashanah was a festive holiday. Playing would be acceptable. Greenberg played. He hit 2 home runs. The 9th inning blast won the game 2-1. The Free Press celebrated. A Happy New Year for everybody. But then came the backlash. Greenberg said, "I caught hell from my fellow parishioners. I caught hell from some rabbis. It is 10 days until the next holiday, Yom Kippur." September 19th, the Day of Atonement, the holiest day in Judaism. Greenberg made his choice. He would not play. He walked into Shaarei Zedek Temple. Greenberg remembered. The poor rabbi was standing on the podium praying, and suddenly I walk in and everybody in the congregation gets up and applauds. The poor rabbi looks around. He does not know what is happening. And I am embarrassed as can be, because it was all totally unexpected. Detroit poet Edgar Guest wrote in the Free Press, "Came Yom Kippur, holy fast day worldwide over. And Hank Greenberg, to his teaching and the old tradition true, spent the day among his people, and he did not come to play. We shall miss him on the infield, and shall miss him at the bat. But he is true to his religion, and I honor him for that." The poem was reprinted in Jewish newspapers nationwide, recited in synagogues for generations. But nobody expected this. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg later explained. Greenberg's decision helped lead to the court's practice of not holding oral arguments on Yom Kippur. I think it was effective. The Supreme Court changed policy because of a baseball player. But Greenberg's biggest challenge was still ahead, and this time, the entire world was watching. Summer of 1938. Greenberg was chasing Babe Ruth's record of 60 home runs. At the same time, Hitler was annexing Austria. Kristallnacht was approaching. America was refusing Jewish refugees. Greenberg wrote in his autobiography, "It was 1938, and I was now making good as a ball player. Nobody expected war, least of all the ball players. I did not pay much attention to Hitler at first or read the front pages, and I just went ahead and played. Of course, as time went by, I came to feel that if I, as someone who was Jewish, hit a home run, I was hitting one against Hitler." By September, the chase was heating up. 11 games with multiple home runs. Still a record. Media frenzy nationwide. Every at-bat scrutinized. Then something strange happened. Early September, Greenberg walked 11 times in 8 games. The final 5 games of the season, he stood at 58 home runs. He needed 2 more to tie Ruth. He got 0 good pitches to hit. Did pitchers intentionally prevent him from breaking Ruth's record? A 2010 New York Times statistical analysis said yes. The walk rate was unusual, but Greenberg always denied it. He said, "Some people still have it fixed in their minds that the reason I did not break Ruth's record was because I was someone of my faith. The ball players did everything they could to stop me. The fact of the matter is quite the opposite. The reason I did not hit 60 or 61 is that I ran out of gas." The final game came at Cleveland Municipal Stadium, September 27th, last doubleheader. Greenberg hit 2 home runs, reaching 58. The final game, darkness was falling. 1 swing. The ball banged off the fence in deep left center field, almost out. Umpire George Moriarty had to make a call. He turned to Greenberg and said, "I am sorry, Hank. This is as far as I can go." Greenberg, exhausted, replied, "That is all right, George. This is as far as I can go, too." 58 home runs. The right-handed American League record stood for 61 years. .683 slugging. 147 runs batted in. 143 runs scored. Most valuable player voting? He finished 3rd. The chase ended, but so did peacetime. Within 3 years, Greenberg would face a choice that would cost him everything he had built. And this time, there was no debate. May 7th, 1941. Greenberg hit 2 home runs in his final game. The next day, he was inducted into the Army. Tigers fans packed the train station, cheering and crying. December 5th, 1941. Congress released men 28 and older from service. Greenberg was discharged. 2 days later, Pearl Harbor was attacked. February 1st, 1942. Greenberg re-enlisted, the first major leaguer to volunteer after Pearl Harbor. He said, "We are in trouble, and there is only one thing for me to do. This doubtless means I am finished with baseball." He served spotting bombing locations over the Himalayas. His plane crashed in India. The crew survived miraculously. Greenberg said, "I was quite satisfied just to be alive." Ted Williams predicted in June 1945, "Greenberg will hit, and you can count on that." July 1st, 1945. 47,000 fans packed the stadium. No spring training. Away for more than 4 years. First at bat, home run. Final day of the season, 9th inning, 2 out, bases loaded, down by 1 run. Greenberg crushed a grand slam into the left field bleachers. Pennant clinched. World Series, 1945. 7 runs batted in. Tigers beat the Cubs. 1946. Led the league with 44 home runs. Age 35. Then the Tigers betrayed him. Given away to Pittsburgh for $35,000. The Pirates made him baseball's first $100,000 player. And in Pittsburgh, at age 36, Greenberg would have one more moment that would define American history. May 1947, Forbes Field, Pittsburgh. Jackie Robinson was in his rookie season, breaking baseball's color barrier. His life had been threatened. Opposing teams made machine gun noises from their dugouts. The Phillies coach fined pitchers who did not throw at Robinson. Robinson was slumping, contemplating quitting. The moment came at first base. Robinson laid down a bunt. Headed to first, Greenberg stood waiting. They collided. The crowd urged them to fight. Everyone expected violence, more hatred. Instead, Greenberg leaned in and whispered words no one else could hear. After the game, reporters asked what Greenberg had said. Robinson answered, "He gave me encouragement. Mr. Greenberg is class. It stands out all over him." The New York Times reported the full exchange. Greenberg told Robinson, "Do not pay any attention to these guys who are trying to make it hard for you. Stick in there. You are doing fine. Keep your chin up." Both faced abuse worse than almost anyone. But Greenberg could leave the field and go anywhere. Robinson could not. The two remained friends until Robinson's death in 1972. They both testified in the Curt Flood Supreme Court case together, fighting for players' rights. When Greenberg became Cleveland's general manager in 1948, he signed more players of color than any other franchise. He refused hotels that denied service to any of his players. Two men, different struggles, same courage. Greenberg showed Robinson, you can be yourself and be great. So, when players were asked about Hank Greenberg, what did they really see? When Joe DiMaggio saw Hank Greenberg at bat, his eyes popped out. But DiMaggio saw only part of the story. DiMaggio saw raw power that rivaled Ruth. Bertie Tebbetts saw courage under abuse no one should endure. Jackie Robinson saw class in a moment when hatred was easier. Ted Williams saw the 11th greatest hitter of all time. Ruth Bader Ginsburg saw conscience that changed the Supreme Court. Edgar Guest saw a man true to his values. Millions saw hope in the darkest times. The numbers tell one story. 331 home runs despite losing 4.5 years. On base plus slugging of 1.017, top 9 all time. Two-time most valuable player at different positions. 4 pennants. 2 World Series championships. First person of his faith inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1956. But the real legacy goes deeper. Edgar Guest wrote in 1934, "We shall miss him on the infield and shall miss him at the bat." The truth is, we did not just miss him. We needed him. In 1934, showing that faith matters. In 1938, showing pride when the world told him to hide. In 1941, showing sacrifice. In 1945, showing resilience. In 1947, showing brotherhood. The Supreme Court still honors his holiday. Every athlete who takes pride in who they are walks his path. Every person who stands up when it costs everything follows his example. When players were asked about Hank Greenberg, they saw a slugger. When America needed a hero, they got so much more. Comment, who is your greatest athlete who transcended sports? Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Like if you think courage matters more than statistics. Subscribe for more untold stories. We drop one every week. When Greenberg made history's eyes pop, he changed what greatness means.